You're running here. You're good.
We'll go ahead and start. Thank you everyone for coming. It's first item is to approve the minutes held on March 18th.
I make a motion to approve the minutes of March 18th.
Thank you by Don. All set. All in favor? Davey, can you hear me? All in favor?
Yes. We will want to speak up just so that the microphone can pick up the
Okay.
audio.
Second item, consider accepting sewer extension for the new FWF building.
Let me just give that a second. I've got Boyd here to address the council on this. What was yours, sir?
All set. I'm going to infringe on your
Personal space.
personal space
Thank you.
here. Yeah, just
You can place it anywhere, sir.
place it everywhere.
Within reason.
Within reason. So, what we're looking at here today is FWF is proposing their facility up off Industrial Drive on Everett Rosenon's property. And what, I don't know when Everett built this, I'm assuming it was Everett, extended an 8-inch line. It's hard to see with the black and white, but basically there's 2 manholes that go cross country and 2 sections of pipe that come off Bonnie Avenue. It was a private sewer extension, basically to serve Haskins' property. And what FWF wants to do is they want to, on their new facilities, they want to connect into the manhole labeled 1776. But in doing so, we can't, because of the sewer ordinance requires 1 building, 1 sewer to the public sewer, they would either have to run a new line all the way to Bonnie Avenue, or we talked about the possibility of them giving the town an easement and then moving these pipes into town-owned property. That would allow them to, Haskins to connect to manhole 1776, that would allow FWF to connect to 1776, and then we would need to, forever therefore, maintain those 2 sections that run in the manholes, so, to be in compliance with the ordinance. So basically what we're looking at for you folks is, part of the ordinance requirement is that you folks accept, if there's such a, if you're okay with that you folks accept those main extensions so that they can connect where we're talking about. A couple of things I requested in the planning board process for them is, the first thing was to do a camera inspection of the 2 lines just to make sure they're structurally, in good shape and we're not taking on something that's going to cost the sewer customers money down the road. The pipes were in good shape. As you can imagine, with only 1 service connecting in, there was a lot of solids in the bottom just because there wasn't a lot of flow to push the solids through. So there were basically, after the inspection, I had 5 different conditions, I guess, that I wanted them to do as part of the acceptance. First one is to flush and clean all the sewer pipes so they're basically like new before we accept them, if you choose to accept them. The other thing is to certify, just have a surveyor go down and verify that they meet the minimum slope requirements from our ordinance and from design. There's a manhole, that manhole 1775, that had holes in the cover. It's the old style that cast that had like 4 different holes in the cover. I asked them to replace that, obviously to minimize inflow coming in from any runoff that might be around there. I also asked them when they connect into manhole 1776 that they don't just dump the 6-inch sewer pipe from the new facility on top of the brick shelf, because otherwise you just get buildup of solids. I asked them to actually put it in the trough. And the other requirement is that the town be given a deeded right-of-way over those areas where the cross-country runs are, so we can maintain the pipe in the manholes. So, and I talked to them So I sent that off to them Monday after the inspection, and I talked to them this morning, and they said they were all set with all those conditions and are actually starting the process of getting those done. So I guess what I'd like to see is if you folks would accept those sections of pipe with the conditions that I've outlined.
Is this built to a design that you would accept if you were building it?
That's why it's 8-inch pipe, which meets our standards. So I want to check, because it was so flat and there was a lot of solids in the bottom. It's hard to tell. I want to make sure it meets the minimum slope, which is, I've told them, is 0.004 feet per foot, which is pretty flat. My guess is it probably meets it, but I want to verify that. So everything else looked fine. So,
David?
Is there any opportunity, or do you foresee anybody else needing to tap into this, or any reason that somebody would need to or want to, and that is it big enough?
I've been told, actually somebody, and I don't know if I don't think it's FW Webb, there is a surveyor doing some survey down on KMD about something that they're looking at developing up there. I don't know what it is, and it may be just, coming on the road, but yeah, once we put that lateral in, instead of having to go all the way to KMD on Industrial Drive, part of the service, like the Pine Acres building where the old restaurant was, they already feed into our system. So anybody like, I think it's Frito-Lay's and everybody back in there, I think they would have had the capability of connecting into this. So it does allow for future development, whether it be Everett's property or somebody else out there. So.
The other thing is FW Webb's not going to be a big contributor. I mean, it's pretty much a warehouse.
I was just looking down the road, if somebody else were to develop something, is that pipe big enough?
Yeah, it definitely is big enough for, 8-inch pipe will handle like 1 million gallons a day, so it's definitely big enough. Yeah, so.
I'll make a motion if they meet all the requirements that Boyd's suggested that we accept this.
Motion's made, do we have a second? Second by Dave, all in favor?
Thank you.
Thanks, Boyd. Appreciate that.
Next item, number 3, is a town meeting discussion.
I'm giving you a proposal, and after a lot of consideration, because I've been bouncing back and forth on this now for a couple of weeks, I'm going to make a recommendation that we postpone our town meeting till June 6th. Since we've had, I've given you another attachment on this, on the second page, and this new emergency order that was passed by legislatures on March 17th gives us the authority to change that date. The governor is planning on readdressing the April 27th mandate where it's 10 people, but I don't think it's going to change, and if that happens, we're going to be in trouble. So I think we just ought to bite it and plan on June 9th. This allows us to have a backup date of June 23rd if the budget doesn't pass the first time. I think it's critical that we try to get this thing in front of our voters before the July 1st new year, because it's going to, I've got a new financial officer. I've got all kinds of potential problems if we try to wrinkle this thing up too much. Obviously it could be out of our control, but I think we ought to make every effort possible to keep it in that time frame. So June is where I'm proposing.
Don?
What would be the backup? And I'm not disputing the June date, but what if we can't have it in June?
We're going to have to shoot for July, and what we'll have to do is run on our old budget numbers. I mean, the nice thing is the way our budget's put together, it's not going to change our mill rate. So as far as operating capital, if we run on last year's numbers, we're still going to be a function okay. The wild card's the school over what they can do, because we can't commit taxes until we have something from them. And I actually talked with Carl Garley today on the phone about that, and they've got a little bit more difficult situation than we have, because when they hold their meeting or the public vote on their budget, it has to be so many days prior to the town meeting or the referendum, I guess it is. And so now that it's looking like the referendum's going to be, is going to be July 14th, then that's going to cause them a problem. He's curious as what we're going to do, because he has to lock in all 5 towns to get that same date. So this thing is really a rolling train wreck, and trying to keep ahead of it's nearly impossible. So it's kind of a long answer to a short question, and But June 9th is where I'm proposing, and if you would ask me that this morning at 8 o'clock in the morning, I would have said, oh no, we're going to go and stick with this May 5th thing and take a chance on it, but I've changed it since then.
Where are you proposing to have it, Gary?
Well, we're still locked in at the fire station. I mean, this gives us some opportunity here. You know, we can use this room, we can use the apparatus bay, which I think was the original plan. I did talk with Gartley today about the possibility of the football field. Mike had kind of thrown that idea at me a couple of weeks ago. And you know, if we decide to do an outdoor event, that's an option. He's got the sound systems. We can also do an outdoor event here, right out back. I mean, open up the back two apparatus bay doors so that we can set our council members in there and just set seats outside. You know, June 9th, we could have some really nice weather out there. A few black flies, mosquitoes, would be perfect. Sure.
A few hamburgers and stuff?
I mean, so we'll get through it. I mean, it's just a moving target. You know, it's tiring, but we'll get through it. So, June 9th, if you guys are okay with it.
Further questions? No?
Not on that, related to, though. The Commissioner of Education has recommended that we not reopen schools. Has the governor reacted to that? Is she
I believe
behind
she
it?
reacted that today. I was talking to someone of your motor vehicles, it's higher up, and he said that I have not heard that, but he said that she did react to that and was requesting that all schools stay closed the rest of the year.
Requesting.
I put it like that because I have not heard it myself. This is someone of your motor vehicles that I was talking to. It's higher up.
I'd make a motion, we accept rescheduling the town meeting for June 9th.
Okay, second? Second by all in favor? Thank you. Appointment of the ballot clerks?
Jen has given you a sheet of paper for this year's ballot clerks, and we're going to need them appointed.
Any questions on any of the ballot clerks? Go ahead.
I'd make a motion, we accept these ballot clerks. Second.
Second, all in favor? Good. And I get a report from Chief Coughlin on the report of emergency task force.
So the task force, which is made up of myself, Chief Tracy, Jan, Dave Groder, Tony Thibodeau, and Randy Marshall Sr. also sits in on the meetings. And we meet twice a week right now. We're meeting on Tuesday and Thursday mornings to discuss any issues that have come up, to help draft, formulate policies that may be needed, and to make necessary recommendations to the town manager for considerations in regards to our response planning of the current situation. Not much has changed as far as town operations since the last council meeting. The fire department continues to limit access to the building. We've changed a few policies in the way that we handle people that do come here to the station, as well as some of our responses. We still respond to all the calls. We just, how we handle them sometimes is a little bit different than the past. We don't necessarily go rushing right in. We do what we're calling a front porch or doorway assessment, asking qualifying questions and determining what level of protection we need to keep our members safe and also be able to serve the caller. So I did give everybody a kind of a summary sheet just over the last month of things that have gone on here at the fire department as far as the COVID planning and response. I've divided it out into supplies, training, policies, procedures, staffing, what we've done at the stations. So it's a pretty comprehensive list for your reading enjoyment. The final page has the emergency management piece where the COVID task force is listed where we meet. And the fire department members meet here in the station, and then other members, Jan, Chief Tracy, Broder, Tony at times. We do the meetings over Zoom, just like we're doing now for the council meeting, so that we're not all in the same room. We're kind of spread out, but we're able to meet and have a productive meeting. We review the current status of what's happening with information from Gary or from Jan or from any other town department. We review plans in place and update as needed, provide information, offer assistance to town departments, assist with policies, make recommendations to the town manager. We're maintaining incident command forms. We're maintaining financial expenditures with the help of Kelly as well. Maintaining communication with area EMS services and fire departments, communicating with state, county, and regional organizations and officials. So it's pretty comprehensive and busy committee. And I know Gary puts out a summary of the meetings to the council weekly, so that you know what's being discussed and different things that are being talked about. And I think on the agenda tonight is the town's COVID policy, which I think you've all received a copy of. That was an effort made with the committee, with Gary. We looked at some policies from other communities and tailored it to what we believed would be a good policy for Oakland. And it's pretty comprehensive as far as covering different topics, and so people know where we are up front if we have an exposure, or if we have an employee that is unable to report to work, and being able to cover all that in a policy for the pandemic. Once this is passed and gone by, we can revisit this policy and make it more of a generalized policy that we can have on the books for any future events. Hopefully we don't have a future event such as this one, but at least we'll have something in place to assist us, where this time we really didn't have that policy in place. We just kind of were making things as we were going, but we wanted to get it all in one